So now that you explained the start of how the superstar of Jade catapulted into the universe, did your mom ever find out about this type of life, this life that you're living in? Like, how did that, did they ever collide, your personal life and your business life?
Um, my mother did find out about my transition and about my career choices. I think one day, I was on hormones, so of course you have um, your needles and your syringes and your little capsules of hormones. I think she found it one day in my room in her house, and she asked me what it was. She kind of knew, but of course she knows that I'm transitioning. But I explained to her that these are the medicines that I need to transition, and she was okay with that. But her one question was, how are you affording this medicine? You know, my insurance anymore. How are you affording this? I think I told her that I met one guy. I didn't tell her that I saw multiple guys that I was escorting or working on the streets. I told her that I had one guy who lived in downtown Atlanta who took care of me. And she was like, is this guy dangerous? And, went to all those motherly questions. But, that's just a story that I felt comfortable with telling her because she was already getting over my transition, me being a transition, so I didn't feel like she was ready for that at the time. But in actuality, I was working in Atlanta on the streets and meeting guys and getting into taking pictures with Steve. But that goes to a point where I had my gay mother in Atlanta. I'm not Atlanta, but Miami that I told you about. I actually met a girl in Atlanta who I don't know why everybody wants to pick me up on the streets and take me under the wing, but I was working in Atlanta downtown on the street, and I'm sure everyone probably knows this girl too. Her name is Eve. tseve.com is her website if you don't know her. She's from Atlanta, so she used to ride around the streets in Atlanta in her car. I think she had a Lexus at the time. And I'm like, who's that? Because she would never ever get out. She would always ride through, and the girls would be like, oh, that's Miss Eve. She's shady. And I'm like, what is shady? What do you mean by she said no? She doesn't talk to me because she just rides through. And I'm like, oh, so she has a nice car. And I'm like, oh yeah, she makes money. That's the money girl. I'm like, thinking in my head, oh, I need to be like that. And so, I'm trying to think, how did I meet her? I think we met online, or maybe I talked to her one day. She was riding through, but however it was, we got acquainted. And I don't know why she let me in because of all the girls I know that have had conversations with her. I heard that they said that she was shady, or she's just not a friendly girl. But for some reason, me and her clicked. We started talking on the phone. We talked online a lot. And one day when I was in Atlanta working, she invited me to her house. So I went to her house, and we were talking and getting more acquainted. And she was telling me about because I was getting curious. You just ride through, but you have all these nice things. She had a nice house, nice cars. I'm like, I want to make money. You got a job? She's like, well, I work the ads, and I'm like, the ads? What are the ads? And so, and that's how I went to the transition from working the streets into working the ads. She helped me and told me how to get the ad onto the Arrows guide. And when I got the ad on the Arrows guide, I think I was hot shit. And I had Eve as my best friend too. So I went from walking the streets into riding in the car with Eve on the streets with the girls. Looking at all of us together like, oh, she's with Eve now. All this type of stuff. So I was working at Arrows guide, making I guess at least $2,000 or $3,000 on the weekend, So I thought that was like hot shit. And so eventually I moved out of my mom's house and I moved. This is how much money I was making under TSE's management. I moved 1, 2, 3, probably 4 houses down from me. And it was incredible. I thought all the answers to my prayers were answered. I got a new car, I got a Lexus, I got a townhouse down from her, and she just gave me, outside of all the material things, she just gave me sound advice on life, on career, transitioning, just being a friend that I needed, because of course I was away from Miami from the girls that I was used to, and I was happy to have her. So eventually eventually I was getting curious about her website, so I'm like, can I start a website too? When I started a website, she was telling me how a website was hard work, and I was amazed that she built her own website. She maintained her own website, and I was like, if you can teach me, I can do this too. But I guess she was like, I taught you about escort, and I'm not going to get you into all my real money cheese like that. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But me being a smart girl myself, I did some research online, and I found out how to do it myself. Not basically build a website, but I found that it was possible for me to have a website myself. Of course, I would, I still had friends in the network as far as the Groovy guys and Steve, and they said I just had to find someone to build me a website, and they would take from there. So I found this guy, Lord, I don't remember his name, but he was one of the industry guys. When I say industry, I mean hip hop industry. he built the websites for all the hip hop, video girls like Buffy the Body and Esther Baxter and all those type of girls. And I didn't know any better, so I paid with him. Hey, I'm Jade, I'm a transsexual, and I want a website. And he's like, what? I don't do stuff like that. And so I don't know if he charged me a ridiculously high rate just for me to say, okay, I'm sorry, never mind, to get me out of his space, or was that really his rate? But he said for $1,500 he would build me a website. Now later on down the line, I found out that was ridiculously high, but I paid it. I was making my money with the escort and everything, so I didn't really care. So I guess he was like really surprised that I agreed to it. So he built my very first website for me, and it was beautiful in my eyes. I took the pictures and it was cool. And I told Eve that I had a website. She was kind of shocked. Like really. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, maybe she didn't want to have one. And then a lot of girls put stuff in your ear like, oh, she couldn't take care after you got your website and all that stuff. But as long as we remained friends and our friendship, and me having a website didn't change that at all. So we remained friends, remained cool. She still gave me advice after I had my website. She gave me advice on how to keep it and maintain it. You know what I'm saying? So she said I guess she figured I was in the game now, so she can do this to support me and help me as my friend. So after I got my website, I was getting money that way, and I was sitting on top of the world. So that's how SexyJade.com came about.